Here's Johnny.
Take your stinking paws off.
Be cool. Be cool.
You fools! You're in danger! He's alive! Wait, 21 gigawatts! Hallelujah! Holy shit! You follow me, this?
Jack burnt me.
Won't do any good to run, girly boy. Stop it!
What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Lucid Nightmare. I'm your host as always, Jay Schatzer, and today I am tackling more horror Blu-rays and DVDs in my collection, and we are nearing the end, so thank goodness I can move on to sci-fi, dramas, crazy Godzilla flicks, we got westerns, we got comedies, we got all kinds of crazy stuff to look forward to in the future, but right now we're going to dive back into the horror world. So let's start it off with a film that I have not seen before, but it is one that might just tickle my fancy if I check it out. It is Night Train Murders. Looks totally demented. Aldo Lotto is the one who directed it. He's done a lot of giallo flicks. I don't believe this one is a giallo flick. It's more of a kind of two girls go on a trip and are kind of tormented by crazed killer people. So it's almost kind of like a thriller, kind of sadistic kind of flick looking. But definitely want to check it out for myself because one, it's been on my radar for years, but do not know why I've never checked it out. But that is Night Train Murders. And next is a flick that I kind of mentioned last collection video of kind of movies that were kind of in that same ballpark area, and Quadan, if I'm saying that right, is kind of a companion piece to Kura, whatever the hell you pronounce this one, bam, Kuroniko. But yeah, they both deal with kind of Japanese lore and kind of spirits, the afterlife, kind of ghosts, horror, you know, that kind of storyline. But it follows just a few little stories delving into the lore and mythology of Japanese culture, and really, really cool stuff. Very, very haunting imagery, beautifully shot stuff, like I said, really cool stuff. And I've actually watched this a few times, love it every single time. The other film, I have not seen that one too many times, so I'll probably have to revisit both and maybe do two reviews for some great Japanese horror flicks from back in the day, because these ones are really cool. Not a lot of people talk about them. I mean, they almost borderline on artistic films, so it's a really slow burn with a lot of cool atmosphere, beautiful imagery. Really something you should take notice if you're a horror fan and looking to expand your horizons within the genre. Definitely good stuff. But let's keep moving on to another film, and this one is one that I've discovered, I guess in the past few years. I can't remember the exact day I saw it, but there's a review up for it on the channel. It's a really, really cool kind of slasher flick, but I would border it on, it's more of a kind of personal depiction of kind of like a serial killer. So it's kind of more of a serial killer flick that kind of deals on the killer, and you just follow him on his day-to-day life of just doing normal things to just stalking people and murdering them. So it's really interesting, cool film, great cast. I love the atmosphere in this one. I don't know why, but it kind of reminds me of like the Manson family. I don't know why, but it is The Centerfold Girls. And really love this film, was very surprised when I saw it for the first time. I didn't know what to expect, I guess, and was happily surprised. It's just really, really, really good. So if you want a more in-depth thought process on this film, definitely check out the channel for the review. But yeah, it's really cool. I love how there's no really main damsel in distress, I guess you could say. he kind of just randomly goes around and runs into people and gets infatuated with them and then just stalks them and then murders them. So he goes through that process a number of times, and I mean, it's just really interesting, and it's a really intriguing point of view to go by, is just kind of going with this guy's life. And there's a lot of interesting characters throughout the film that kind of crop up, and yeah, definitely cool. So if you've ever saw this cover and you're thinking, you know, I'm interested to know what this movie is about, definitely pick it up. If you want to just go in blind and pick it up and check it out, it's really cool flick. But if you want to know a little bit more, definitely check out the review on my channel for that. But let's keep moving on to this one is a kind of modern day slasher comedy that came out a few years ago. I loved it when I saw it, and I picked it up right away because I was that entertained. And that movie is The Final Girls. And I know people that watch the American Horror Story, that show, will know the main actress right here. I know she's kind of like a reoccurring character or an actress that pops up throughout each season for their different stories. But yeah, she does an amazing job in this one. She's the main character who's kind of dealing with all this stuff. But this is a really tongue-in-cheek film where it's pretty much all about style over substance kind of thing, where they're trying to be clever about the tropes in the genre of slashers and kind of making fun of it, while at the same time trying to make an kind of underlying theme throughout it about family and her turmoils that she went through as a kid, and just kind of coming to grips with her mom's death and kind of things like that. But it's really dreamlike in parts, psychedelic. It's a really cool combination. It's kind of hard to describe. I'm kind of going off memory right now because it's been a while, but yeah, it's a very, they call it a love letter to 80s slasher films, but it doesn't dwell on that fact. I mean, it's all set in an 80s kind of world where there's a slasher killer, but there's a lot of weird, wacky stuff happening throughout it, and a lot of tongue-in-cheek humor, like I said. So yeah, definitely check it out. If it kind of came and went, and nobody really talks about it. A lot of modern films are like that, but this was definitely entertaining and one to check out. So check it out as soon as possible. Let's see what is next. What an enjoyable B movie this is. I reviewed this one up on the channel 2 years ago, I believe it was, because it was a blind buy that I picked it up around that time, and really liked the just low-key nature of it. It was just a simple kind of, I don't know if this is the 50s? No, 60s. It's a really simple 60s horror film, but it had a very 50s B-movie creature feature kind of feel to it. And the movie I'm talking about is Horrors of Spider Island. And that's horrors, not horrors. There are a lot of horrors on this island, but that's not what the film's about. But yeah, the film is just ridiculous. I mean, those are the monsters that we're looking at here. And there's even a mutated man spider hybrid dude running around on the island. It's just completely ridiculous. I love movies set on tropical or deserted islands, and this one just falls right into that happy zone that I love. And it's just got a fun, strange feel to it. I mean, the premise is a bunch of models go to an island for a photo shoot. Things go wrong because there's a crazy spider hybrid man running around and deadly spiders that bite you. Really just fun, ridiculous stuff. So check out the channel if you want to see more of my thoughts on that one. But yeah, it's just fun fluff, and I love to add it to the collection because I like enjoyable stuff like that. But up next is a classic sequel to a classic anthology film. I believe there are different directors on this one. Yeah, different director on this one than from the first films, but a classic and fun story, or collection of stories to say the least. And the movie I'm talking about is Creepshow 2! Ow! I love the original Creepshow to death. George Romero and Stephen King's collaborative effort to make that one come to life is just really great. Amazing characters, because George Romero always casts great people for their roles. And I mean, just thinking about different Leslie Nielsen, Ted Danson in that one story, you just have just a whole bunch of people in every single story. Adrienne Barbeau creeps up. I mean, just that original is great. And this one, which is not as great as that first anthology, is still an enjoyable film. And I mean, they're in my eyes, they get more and more equal to each other just because I love them so much to death. But this one has one of the most creepiest stories in it, The Raft. And that used to just creep the shit out of me when I was a kid. Just, the whole story is just these teenagers go to a lake in the middle of nowhere to go swimming, and they swim all the way to this raft in the middle of the lake, and then they notice this weird goo in the lake, and it's moving on its own, and it pretty much just consumes anything in its path. So when it attaches to them, they start melting. It's like the Blob or something. It's just messed up shit, and I just loved it to death because it freaked me out. And just like the rest of the stories are amazing too. So it's just a great package of short stories, just beautifully and entertainingly shot, and just fun. I mean, really fun. The name of the game on both anthology films, both Creepshow 1 and 2, is just fun. Have not seen Creepshow 3 that came out last year, whatever it was, because I heard it's a piece of shit, and I knew it was going to be a piece of shit because they're just going off the name. But, yep. Great film. Creepshow 2, I was going to pick it up on Blu-ray one of these times, but it was so damn expensive, I said, hell no. But, let's keep moving on to a wonderful H.P. Lovecraft style film. And I believe it is directed by none other than Stuart Gordon and produced by Brian Usna. It is Dagon. Just a great combination of those two minds who love to make demented, weird stuff off of H.P. Lovecraft's writing. I love this film to death. I watch it all the time. I actually watched it probably 2 months ago just because I love how just insane, weird, and wacky the story gets. Pretty much, couple goes sailing, their sailboat crashes during a storm, and they wash ashore and try to survive in this weird town that is overrun by fish people who worship a god named Dagon, and it just goes crazy from there. But yeah, this is, I guess in my mind, this is probably the best adaptation of H.P. Lovecraft's writing that has come to screen. Really great stuff. It just captures that atmosphere and kind of ancient dread that he is able to call up. So it's just a really great film, great effects, great atmosphere, great locations. Characters are so-so because Stuart Gordon tends to not stay in the realm of reality with his films. They're all just all over the place, crazy, wacky stuff. So, I mean, it's got that going for it too, but it's still a detriment to the film because it doesn't have that kind of constant dread. It's more wacky, and it's all about the situations and the odd things the characters see and experience. But Dagon, great film, love it. Reviews up on the channel, check it out for sure. But up next is a great creature feature. Stan Winston directed this. I didn't even know he directed this, holy shit. Stan Winston directed this, but I know he did the creature effects because that's what I was bringing up. And I love the film. I know it's kind of like that film like Pet Sematary where something horrible happens to a kid in the beginning and it just makes you dread the film watching it later on because you have that memory stuck in your head. But the movie I'm talking about is Pumpkinhead. And it's just a really, really fierce film with an amazing main villain. The effects work done on Pumpkinhead in the film is just outstanding. He's like some crazy alien-looking freak from another world, but he's just some dude that summons up when people get pissed off and want people dead. But Pumpkinhead is just a great film. It has been years since I've watched this. I'm just basing this off the memory of when I was a kid watching this on TV late at night. And I really have to revisit it because I remember loving it. I love Lance Henriksen that is in the film. So I'm going to have to check this out and put a review up for it because, yeah, Pumpkinhead is a classic. And I believe I probably have Pumpkinhead 2 somewhere, but I don't remember where it went. But up next is... Hey, wait a second. Oh, yeah. Up next is... Sorry, I got sidetracked. I saw what was down there, and I thought I already reviewed it earlier. Up next is a beautifully shot, highly underrated, and just forgotten film. It is Richard Stanley's Dust Devil. And if for some reason you haven't heard of this film, or even if you slightly heard of this film and haven't seen it, check it out as soon as possible because they don't make movies like this anymore. There's not this kind of quality out there, and for this to be a forgotten and lost film, just kind of boggles my mind because it really is streamlined. I mean, it's a story you can follow. It's great production quality. The actors and actresses in the film are amazing. The atmosphere is top notch. The gore is frightening and real and sadistic. It's just got the total package, and I just love Richard Stanley's films. The guy can make good cult classic, instant cult classic films. And the fact that he only made maybe 2 or 3 films and kind of just dropped off the face of the earth is sad as all hell and depresses me, but at least he left us with these great films. And Dust Devil is no exception. I have his other film, Hardware, but even though that has horror elements to it, I still call it, categorize it more as a sci-fi film. So that'll be coming up later down the line when we get to the sci-fi collection. But Dust Devil is amazing. Pretty much a serial killer in Australia. Is it Australia, right? I don't want. No, it's South Africa. Shit, I don't remember. I feel so foolish now. Damn it! I'm gonna sit here and read this until I can find where it's at. Shit, I thought it was Australia, but it could have been South Africa. Screw me, I can't remember. Damn it! But yeah. About this serial killer going around the desert countryside, kind of stealing people's souls, I guess, and runs into this woman who becomes the main character, who's going through her own kind of fall from grace with her marriage falling apart and different things like that. She kind of gets hooked up with him, and then he kind of gets obsessed with her and following her around. It's just a really cool, surreal, strange film that you just got to see to believe. It's really, really, really done well. And this DVD collection, the limited collector's edition, has just a whole bunch of different stuff, documentaries that Richard Stanley's done, because he's done more documentaries than he has actual feature films. But yeah, great collection. It's even got a little comic in there, but love this one to death, and really, really plead to the masses to watch this film as soon as possible. The review is up on the channel if you want to get a more in-depth look of it and see what the flavor of the flick is. So definitely check out that review that I've done maybe 2 or 3 years ago. But a great flick and one to look out for. And this is why I said what the hell when I was looking down there. I Drink Your Blood on DVD is down here. I already have the Blu-ray, so I'm going to have to kind of combine those two. I don't know where the hell it went. Oh, it's over here. It's over that way. So yeah, I'll combine those ones later.